I'm going to be with you for the next half an hour, kind of talking around the journey of a super high growth, fast-paced brand trying to catch up with the success of its revenue growth with the customer experience and operational fulfillment. But before we get started, it's probably worth just saying, who on earth am I standing here at the podium? So I'm Steve Davies. I'm the operations director of Abbott Lyon. I've been with Abbott Lyon since April last year, though with any fast-moving scale-up, it feels like 5-10 years already. My background before Abbott Lyon was working in other high-growth e-com retailers like Wayfair, large parcel furniture, then Eve Sleep selling mattresses, then Benson's for beds, and I thought I'd then take it easy and move to a small parcel, kind of quite easy shipment profile, and then how wrong I was that this would be an easy job that I took on just under 2 years ago. So I was brought on to Abbott Lyon. When they hit around the 32.5 million revenue, they started to realize that all of those processes that had worked from a startup were no longer seeming to have the same effect. The metrics started to degrade, customers were starting to get kind of disenfranchised with the experience, and they thought we need to bring someone on who can really look at the end-to-end ops and customer experience and go, what does it take to achieve the ambition to go from the 30 million all the way through to 100 million plus? And so we've been on that journey now for a couple of years. I'm going to share the highs and the lows, and hopefully you'll get some insights from that, and we can have some great conversations at the end. So key objectives that I'm going to cover in this session. So outlining the ops and CX priorities of the Times 100 fastest growing brand, which Abbott Lyon has now been for 2 years in a row. An overview of the typical challenges that we face when you're in the startup moving to scale up space. I think a lot of companies are in that space of going, how do we get to that next level of scale? Talking around the solutions that we've adopted, and hopefully they're useful to some people in the room as well. Reviewing the wider ops and CX ecosystem. It's never the case that you onboard a new carrier or a new system and everything works. It's looking at the whole operation strategy overall. And then just sharing the key learnings that we've taken over the last couple of years. And hopefully they are similar to what you've been experiencing in your own companies. So first of all, for those of you who might not know, who are Abbott Lyon? So we were founded in 2015 with a vision for quality jewellery at affordable price points. So there's a huge market in the UK and globally for jewellery, but we were trying to find that kind of mass market appeal where we have really good quality product at affordable prices. That means that the customer that would typically save up for a year or 2 years to buy a Tiffany actually can enjoy the Abbott Lyon brand and our products on a more regular basis. We really take pride in creating beautiful personalized designs and really focusing on that value and customer service, which we're going to talk about the operational components of moving forwards. The real raison d'etre of Abbott Lyon is to allow customers to express themselves and help gift their loved ones with truly meaningful gifts. When we look at our kind of customer profile, particularly in peak, where we do about 50-60% of all of our orders in 3 months, that's where we see a heavy gifting population, and it's really important for us that we help customers share experiences and memories with their friends and family. A lot of our orders are coming from customers that have had amazing experience in their lives, a new baby, a wedding, buying for their bridesmaids, but we also have a lot of people who are commemorating lost loved ones or those funerals, those less happy experiences in life, and they need those products that they can cherish. And it's really important that we deliver an end-to-end experience that makes them feel valued and understood as a brand. And then as a company, we're a group of very data-driven, very commercial marketing experts who look at the full marketing funnel to try and really fuel our growth. Let me just see if the clicker works. And the role of Abbott Lyon overall is we inspire our customers to shape something that is truly your own. And we take this across our entire brand. So it's not just about what we're selling to customers on the front end of the website. We want them to feel they have a personalized experience and a personalized relationship with us as a company. And we go to a lot of effort to live this through. But my brand team always say, really don't destroy, Steve, the explanation of the company. So hopefully I'll just show this video to give you a feel for what we're trying to convey in the relationship we're trying to build with our customers. So that's way better than me talking about it as an ops and CX director at the company. But it all comes down to our strapline, which is Made More You. And we take this not just as a strapline or a brand tool, but we take it as a real responsibility as a brand to say, how do we make every part of the customer journey more you? That's from your consideration when you're looking at our ads and how do we target you in the pre-purchase journey? How do we make sure you're getting the right personalized experience on the website? And how do we make sure that you've got the right product and delivery and customer service proposition that you're looking for, no matter who you are as a customer? Now, the journey so far. So back in 2015, we had this real initial focus on watches and a limited jewelry range. And that went well for a couple of years and we were seeing the growth. But then pre-pandemic, like a lot of companies, we were seeing some market challenges. The watch market was moving far more towards digital. And we had to have a real think. What on earth are we trying to be as a brand? What products, what proposition can we really believe in and get behind to make sure we have this growth and this ability to have a long-lasting relationship with our customers? And that's when we realized we needed to expand into personalization and customized jewelry. And this is actually what we call building the competitive moat, which is a phrase you've probably heard before, which is what makes us different to any other jewelry brand on the market. And this for us, if you ever go to our website to look at our offering, so many of our products we can engrave bespoke to you within a one-day turnaround. We can make your items from our factory, lovingly handmade by our factory workers, and get that shipped to you in a very quick lead time, which I'll explain later. But it's all about how do you build this real scalable business where you can create personalized products for customers all year round. And then we saw that kind of success in the pandemic, and coming out of the pandemic, it continued with a huge volume in this personalized and custom jewelry. And then we realized, okay, we need to build the wider proposition to support this at scale. So we updated the brand, which you'll see throughout this slide deck. We've really invested more in our marketing. We've expanded into new channels, and now we're pushing into new countries, particularly the USA. And what that means is, as of today, we're a Times 100 fastest growing brand, leading in the personalized jewelry category. And this slide always reminds me that I have no room for error. So we're a brand that isn't, able to rein back on Google spend or Meta spend within a click of a button. We actually, because of our full marketing funnel approach, we have really large influencer kind of relationships now that range from Stacey Solomon, Molly Smith, Olivia Atwood, Saffron Barker. So these are influencers that are tier one, that are really collaborating with our brand. We're creating bespoke product ranges for these influencers who have millions of followers, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we're delivering the right quality at the right speed with the right service to the customers. So you can see here, this is where they're really pushing us to say, how do you continue to make sure that you're supporting the customers that we're bringing into your door? And the important thing to note is we're still on the journey of operational excellence. So I'm sorry if you felt missold by the title. Where we were when I joined last year was really in that build-out phase of, how do you get the basics and the fundamentals in place for scale? This year, we've really focused on that optimization and stabilizing this volume. And then what you typically find in any startup going into scale-up is that will take at least a year to optimize and stabilize with the right warehouses, couriers, systems. And then you're really pushing forwards, as we will in end of this year towards early next, into developing that excellence to become really market leading in our proposition. And then finally, once you've got that, that allows you to expand into multiple markets and territories, as we're starting to do across the US and Europe. So what have the main challenges been for Abbott Lyon so far? So the first one is, as with any ops director in a high growth brand, the commercial and marketing teams obviously want to sell to everyone, everywhere, yesterday. So we're already delivering to over 70 countries annually, and it's probably a bit more right now actually. And that obviously requires a lot of carriers, a lot of kind of process and data to understand how can we deliver that within the customer expectation. We scaled from a couple of million revenue in fulfilling from an office through to a warehouse that we were with for about 7 years. But then that was the same warehouse partner we had without mapping what the future state of the business was looking like. What was our growth over the next 12 to 18 months? And what does that mean for the requirements that we have? We have our peak volume. Some of you might be like Abbott Lyon, where 50, 60% of our orders happen within the 3-month period. So what works for 9 months of the year also needs to work for the other 3. And hopefully we could talk about, bad math, we can talk about that later. We have a unique operating model with real complexities around selling custom items with the SKUs and how the orders transmit to our warehouse and through our systems. We had a lot of insufficient data on delivery, like what was the speed of delivery, what was the customer experience on delivery, what was the cost of those deliveries. So we were facing a bit of a data black hole. And that was while shipping almost 1 million shipments a year. This year we'll ship about 1.1 to 1.2 million shipments, and we're still on the midway through the process of this growth journey. And I think what sometimes we forget, unless you really map it out, is how complex just processing one order is. So I do like to always spend time when I join any new company and go, guys, you want me to fix this in 1 month, but it's going to take a little bit longer based on where we are today and what we need to do. So without boring you too much, if you look at an example order from a customer in the dispatch process, you've got the retailer, once we've taken that order on our website from the customer, we have to send it to the warehouse. The warehouse is then requesting a label from an integration platform, typically, unless you're direct with the couriers. Then the warehouse, once they've got that label, they're then manifesting, they've handed that order over to the courier and sending that information back to our integration layer. Then we're passing that information over to the carrier. Then the carrier said he comes to the customer saying, we've got your order, it's on its way. Then the carrier is having to go and collect that parcel from the warehouse, which should be simple, but I think most of us will know isn't normally at times. Then the warehouse is sending that confirmed fulfillment back to us to say the carrier's got it. Then the retailer, we're there sending tracking to our CRM platform, which there's many great providers here today. We're using Klaviyo. Then the courier is sending those scan events back to us to give us the update on the progress. And then the CRM is all the while sending updates to the customer. And all of these touch points, there's a propensity in a startup and a scale up for that to go wrong. If you've got manual processes, if you don't have the team monitoring the systems, and if you're not planning ahead. And what I'd like to outline is that everything needs to work together to make this process work, just for one order, never mind the 1.2 million shipments we do a year. That's the teams, the reseller, yourself, the warehouse, the carriers, your internal teams. You've got all the couriers. We're working with, we ship with over 12, 15 couriers globally. Then you've got the systems, you've got your web platform taking the orders in and making sure they're taking them with the right meta fields or whatever it might be for you. You've got your integration layers or your SFTPs. You've got a CRM platform and you've got somewhere a WMS or an OMS system. So all these systems need to be maintained to make sure the order flows are working end to end. And then you've got the services. So when I joined, of course, the company wanted me to launch every service under the sun in 2 months. And I said, no, we'll have to take it slow and steady. Let's get the standard proposition right. Let's get the next day right. And then we can look at the express, the nominated day, the nominated timeframes. And there are lots of different solutions you can take for this. And I've outlined a couple at the bottom here. So you can work with a warehouse that manages the couriers for you. So it makes it super simple. Your orders are going to one location. They have all the information, then they handle the carrier and the final mile for you, whether in the UK or internationally. And there's lots of providers that do that, and I'm happy to share some of them ones that I've worked with. You could then implement your own OMS system and have some manual data flows, which does work. Doesn't work at our scale now of 50 to 60 million, but it does work if you're between 1 million to say 20 million. Or then you can look at proper, more kind of established carrier integration solutions, which I'm going to go on to later. But all of these components need to work. And I don't know, when you sit there today, where do you think, yeah, we've got all that ironed out, Steve. We've got all those processes mapped. We know that flow. We've got the KPI reports coming out daily or weekly, so we know our exception rates, and we're fixing those issues. And I think for any brand that's trying to scale with a huge marketing exposure like we have with influencers, performance marketing, multi-channel, we have to get this right. And this is just one horrible screenshot of when you're then starting to build these systems up. So we've just implemented a new ERP system I'll talk to later. This was just me mapping out the existing carrier solutions per order type. So is it a custom order, a non-custom order? What's the vendor? Where is it? What's the destination market? Is it the UK, Europe, USA? Then you're getting to what services are going on. Is it express? Is it standard? What's the order value? All these components have to be factored in to spit out the relevant service that you're shipping to your warehouse or via your courier to the end customer. And that comes out with the rule logic. And one thing I always say to retailers that are going through this high growth, start mapping out in this very ugly manual way. No one likes my Google Sheets, don't worry. But that will help you then to understand what scale looks like and what systems and processes you need. So we were mapping this out, and we were going, what are we actually looking for here for delivery and warehousing? So the first one on delivery, we wanted a single point of integration, not 10 to 15 carriers managed one by one, where I'd have to have a huge army of ops people to do that job. We wanted to offer a wide portfolio of services. We wanted to upgrade the experience on delivery for our customers. We wanted a scalable cost base, so we're not negotiating on, we've got 100 shipments going to Guam on an annual basis. No one gets good rates for that. And we wanted to get regular live performance insights on the end-to-end delivery experience. So for Abbott Lyon, we partnered with Global Freight Solutions, a company called GFS. And GFS is a carrier aggregator that handles every single one of my 1.2 million shipments a year. They handle it from the minute I send the order over to my warehouse all the way through to delivering to the customer, and then any post-order exceptions that I may have and need to chase. They help me to easily scale up and down depending on volumes. I'm not committed to certain volumes because I don't have those direct relationships with the carriers. It allows for customer convenience because I've got lots of services I can switch on within a week, or less than a week actually, depending on what the brand wants to do. And it's a unique offer. There's not many companies out there that are able to handle all of the couriers I need across all the markets, across all the Incoterms and delivery services we're requiring. So that's allowed us to have this scalable proposition with Global Freight Solutions that takes the BAU headache of managing logistics, Incoterms, customs and duties and delays at the border. All of that is not on the Abbott Lyon ops team to handle day to day. And I won't spend too much time on this, but from a GFS perspective, they're offering a wide range of systems that mean that you're not having to build it in-house. There's always a question for companies when you're looking to scale. Am I building the tech in-house? And you can do it. You can build your own platforms that handle the order management, and I've done that in the past and probably not done the best job. Or can I work with a provider that has the plug-and-play tech, whether it's GFS checkout that helps to present the right options to the customer at the checkout based on the basket profile and the order profile. GFS Selector to handle the label management, Seeker, so my customer service team can access all the tracking information for every single order going back for the history of time, and then Reporter, so I have access to all the data I need for my shipments. And the benefits of the GFS relationship over the last 18 months have been, A, on carrier forecasting and resilience. If a carrier starts to fall apart, I can switch courier within a week. We've tested different couriers. I've put here about trialing different couriers. We can migrate very quickly. So I was splitting my volume between Amazon and Every last peak because I think everyone was nervous that Every might not deliver peak perfectly, but they did a great job. But at least we managed to benchmark different SLAs and capabilities. Having an aggregator means they know how the overall performance of that courier is across multiple customers, and it's not just your perspective. We've achieved a consistently high OTIF on time in full of 97%, which, again, still a 3% fail rate on over 1 million orders is a lot, but you're always going to have some orders that are delayed to customers or have issues, and we're working on closing that gap to 98.5. And then on customer support, they've got one platform for all the couriers, all the shipments. And it's allowed us to really free up our time to focus on the strategic enhancements. What is the proposition we want to deliver to our customers without having to deal with all the day-to-day management, which I'll go into now. The key thing is, as I said, we're on the journey, if you remember the S-curve I presented earlier, and we're not there in terms of this kind of hierarchy I built here in terms of the holy grail for delivery. We've really nailed down cost on the couriers. We're getting there on speed. We're one of the fastest now for custom jewelry in the world overall. On convenience, we need to do a lot more on nominated day and nominated time slots, particularly in peak. And then once we've got cost, speed, and convenience nailed, that's when you start to see that the experience overall starts to really come together. So we're really focusing on the customer journey improvements, so really streamlining end-to-end comms, getting faster with those custom order lead times. Customers don't want to wait 2 weeks for a custom item. We're increasing our speed to market, and we're trying to add those value-add delivery services. But just because you've got the right courier doesn't mean it's all going to work fine unless the warehouse also works well in combination. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I'll happily send the slides afterwards. But we did a tender process. We had a great warehouse for the first 6-7 years of our existence, but they weren't able to support the future scale of us going from 30 million to 100 million. So this was the criteria I took to the market to tender to go, these are the things I need from a warehouse partner moving forwards. I need good communication, flexible storage. I need innovation in our product category. I need a great cost to serve. I need a good geographic network. One thing I always recommend to any other ops colleagues in the industry is if you can find a warehouse partner that can support you not just in the UK or your core market, but in the US, in Europe, it means you're not having bespoke integrations and bespoke relationships. And that's what we did when we moved to ILG, International Logistics Group, which is based in the UK but has a global footprint. And this is kind of where I was 18 months ago on the left. When I joined Abbott Lyon, was at the warehouse. That was our pack stations. You can't really get beautiful, when I showed you that nice brand video at the start, you don't think it's coming from that kind of pack station, do you? But a lot of your warehouses, if you're not there on a weekly or monthly basis, that can happen to the best of us in a busy peak. I'm not being unfair to my warehouse, they did a great job, but this is where you start to see the cracks occurring. And on the right-hand side is ILG, where we've moved to now, and you can see they've got that established kind of automated process that means that no matter what volume we throw at them, we can make sure we have that consistent experience for our customers. And even with the right warehouse, the vital part of the holy trio in any ops director's world is customer service. And this is what I always put in front of my team and this was last year's volumes. We took almost 360,000 contacts. You can see my team have a great time for 6 months of the year, 7 months of the year. They're thinking everything's okay, nothing's going wrong. Then you can see the months at the bottom there go to October, November, December, and they go, holy shit, I don't know what's happening here, but all the contacts are picked up. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, we're going to die, Steve. The brand's going to go bust. It's never going to go bust. We took a lot more sales than we did contacts. But it's really important that you're thinking about these customer service contacts, mapping those contact reasons and knowing what is driving that god-awful spike for 2 months of the year and making sure that you're feeding that back to your warehouse, getting those process flows I showed in the data mapping earlier right. Because most contacts for any retailer like us, it's Wismo, it's returns, and it's a little bit of quality. So I'll move on there. So this is my final slide, I promise. So that means that while we have got great warehousing, great carrier proposition, there's still more that we need to do, and we're in the process of here. So the first one is, like most retailers, some of our products are made in Asia, not just in the UK, particularly our custom items. So we've already launched factory drop shipping directly from the factories in China to our customers in the USA. So where a customer was waiting when I joined about 25 to 30 days for a custom order, they can now get it in less than 10 days. That's really hard with Shein and Temu, and one of them's presenting later. They've really flooded that shipment lane from China and Asia to the USA. But there are great solutions out there that help you speed up lead time and not have to cross-dock through your warehouse. In terms of website and comms, while ops directors typically look at the back end, the carriers and the systems and the processes, it's really important to look at your end-to-end journey, as I mentioned earlier. What's the messaging from pre-sale through to the product display pages, through to checkout, on delivery? How quickly can the customer get it? Don't let them wait for the checkout to find that answer. We also split ship our orders. If someone orders a custom and a non-custom item, we will ship the non-custom first. So we're launching with Shopify on their beta platform for split shipment logic at the checkout. But there's loads of apps out there that help you to show customers, just like Amazon, shipment 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, really thinking about making sure the customer knows all the way from pre-purchase how that's going to look once they click the buy now. In terms of customer service, we're launching with Digital Genius, which is an AI tool some of you might have heard of that's going to automate around about 34% of all of those contacts. So hopefully that last emoji isn't how my CX team are going to feel this year. But it's really important that you're finding, are your humans in CS really handling the valuable tickets, or are they handling the ones which are so easy if you just have the data in an automated way at the fingertips of your customers without locking them into a My Account? Because a lot of customers for Abbott Lyon, less than 10% actually set up an account with us. So trying to build the solution in a My Account framework is not the right thing to do. It is for some retailers, but I'd always say think about and look at the data on how your customers are engaging with your website and manage the journey and create the journey around how they're interacting. Don't try and force them into a flow that they're not naturally inclined to do with you as a brand. We implemented an ERP, which I really wish I hadn't done at the same time as the warehouse. I almost didn't make it here today because I've been living in our warehouse for the last 5 weeks. But please, if you take any letter from me, don't do ERP and warehouse at the same time. But when you get to our kind of aspiration of getting to 100 million in the next 2 to 3 years, it's really important that you have scalable systems. We were finding our stock was running kind of contrary to the reality in the warehouse because we were taking so many orders in peak. The systems couldn't keep up with what stock was allocated, what was free stock, and we were running out of stock. So making sure you work with systems that can handle your peak volume is really, really important. And then finally, looking at localized fulfillment and advanced delivery. So we're going to set up our own warehouse in the US next year, but really making sure it's the right time to launch that localized proposition based on where your market is in terms of growth and volume. And then finally, the key learnings that we've taken over the last 18 months on our journey of operational growth. First one for us is the peaks are getting peakier, I think, for everyone. We're seeing peak is getting pretty difficult out there, trying to handle a lot of volume in an intense few weeks. So it's really trying to find those partners and systems that can help you flex from the 9 months of the year through to those final 3. Enhanced delivery is complex, but as I mentioned with GFS and other providers I can talk about, there's lots of solutions out there that are quite easy to onboard into retailers that actually, don't take a lot of tech work internally. I always think you should align your tech roadmap to your ambitions for scale. For a lot of you, you might not want to have an ERP yet, but you probably need to be making the business case for it in the next 12 to 18 months. I always say consider the total cost of ownership in ops. So it's not just about getting the cheapest rates for warehousing and logistics. It's looking at how many orders are getting to customers late, how many are having missing items, how many are damaged, what's the size of your operations team, what's the salary cost, and actually outsourcing that. It might look more expensive on the rate card, but it might be cheaper overall. Embrace new operating models. I did not enjoy setting up Asia to US direct shipments in the last 12 months, but those models are out there, and you just got to do a bit of digging, and they are absolutely there to leverage, and we're already benefiting from them. And then the last one is really focus on proactively managing the customer expectations. Make sure your data's there, make sure you've got all those SLAs that reflect all of those kind of key topics we talked about earlier, all of those process flows that we talked about earlier, and make sure that you're tracking that on a regular basis to know that are your customers getting the experience that your marketing team are selling, and therefore you are selling as your ops and CX leaders in the business to your customers on a daily basis. And that's it from me. Thank you very much.